Welcome to the Wealth Matters podcast, where investors come together to better understand how to build passive cash flow and create generational wealth without all the confusing mumbo-jumbo. Here's your host and co-author of Amazon #1 bestseller, Alpesh Pamar.
So we have interviewed some of the sports people before. So football player, basketball player. Now we are going to have a baseball player. And I've been following Josh for literally, I would say, last 4 or 5 months. He puts really great content out there. So I'll highly recommend, if you are stuck in your life, or if you're not stuck, definitely check him out. But 13 years after his career as a professional baseball player ended, Josh established himself as a successful entrepreneur and CEO of multiple companies. He's a man of faith, father of 4, and husband to a rockstar woman. Welcome, Josh.
Alpesh, thank you so much, man. It is just exciting for me to be on your show, brother.
Thank you so much. So the first question I ask everyone, means I kind of opened the, I already spilled the beans, but tell us something interesting or funny about yourself.
Well, you kind of opened it up with the fact that I played baseball, and
Yes.
I was a left-handed pitcher for a number of years, and left-handers are kind of known for being quirky. Like, we kind of already have a little bit of a different personality. So
Yes.
one of the things that I've got a lot of superstitions in my life, and when I was a baseball player, there were a lot of things that I did on a regular basis, consistently just repeating the same thing over and over. But it was really all kind of based on superstition, right? So everything from the type of socks that you wore to what you did, to the routines and so forth. So I kind of carried that on into life. I still coach baseball. I actually get to coach my boys.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I still carry that superstition as a coach, which is kind of pathetic because I really have no outcome on the game, right? The boys are actually one playing. So I have my rituals as a coach, as I'm a third base coach, and I'm the third base coach for the team. And so I'll stand in certain positions. I'll have my hands crossed at certain times. I'll look at the pitcher. I'm actually trying to influence the outcome, even though I know I have no influence on the outcome. So definitely still very superstitious when it comes to sports.
That's funny. And of course, I don't follow a lot of baseball but when I used to follow a lot of sports, I was reading about some of the stars, and they all have some kind of superstition, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. There's some very famous ones that are out there of people that follow very, very strict routines and superstitions.
Yeah, no, that's great. So, of course, this is a wealth building show. So I'm going to ask you, what are some of the assets you own and why? Maybe it's just stocks, maybe it's real estate, maybe you're dabbling in cryptos.
Yeah. You bet, my man. Well, first of all, if I do anything outside of the realm of real estate, I always hire a professional. So I do have stocks, but I have somebody that actually takes care of that. I do have crypto, even though I probably don't want to admit that right now with what's going on with crypto. But I do have somebody that oversees that for me. So I really don't I support that with my monies, but I don't really play in that game. I have professionals that take care of it. But the things that I'm really fascinated with and want to build is, of course, my real estate portfolio. So that'll be commercial and multifamily. I love doing syndications because everything's already there, and all I have to do is contribute a certain amount of money for it. I do some investing in startup companies, especially companies that are complementary to real estate. And then, of course, I have my own personal businesses that I kind of feel as are investments as well, too, because investments into the future. So really stick to those 4 in particular, but I like to be diversified and be able to kind of sprinkle monies in other sectors when I have the right connections.
Oh, thank you so much for explaining that. And I keep telling everyone, because of course, I do a lot of real estate. 50% of my portfolio as well is real estate and syndications, as you alluded to that fact as well. But a lot of my friends are stuck in their stocks mindset, right? And of course, I keep telling them it's you got to diversify. And it's so important to go with someone who you trust and know, or someone who is an expert in, right? So I also have my stock portfolio with a JP Morgan Chase guy. He manages it. I do manage my real estate and crypto portfolio because I understand, I enjoy that. But exactly how you put it, right? Like in baseball, you need a coach, right? Same way, if you are going to do certain types of investments, it's better to go with an expert.
Exactly.
No, that's awesome. And I have one more question. So, how were you able to transition from baseball into this business you have?
Yeah, I mean, I think the easy answer to that is that it wasn't easy. I mean, it was really, I had no choice. I was newly married. I knew that I had to provide for my family, and my father was a builder, and I
Oh, okay.
knew I knew I didn't want to pound nails the rest of my life, though. It was
Right.
not an attractive transition in
Correct.
going from the dream job or the thing that I thought I was going to do the rest of my life. And so really the least path of resistance was getting into real estate. We were going, it was 2006. I was on the cusp of
Oh
that
my God.
boom, right?
Perfect
And
timing.
yeah, I got to see the artificial
Yep.
profitability that real estate can
Yes.
provide for you in a boom. So I got into that. In fact, I almost got out of it when we had our bust. So 2011, I almost got out of it because I'm sitting here going, real estate is terrible. We have not recovered. We're living off of our taxes. What do I do? I'm uneducated. I'm 29 years
Right.
old at the time. I'm just like, this is terrible. And luckily I stayed with it and decided, hey, listen, if I'm going to be in this, I'm going to grow it and I'm going to go all in. And that really has turned into all of the companies that we have today, the growth that we've experienced, and of course, some of the successes as a business owner and entrepreneur that we've been able to experience.
Oh, that's great. And I know you talk about success, you talk about winning, you talk about um, how to keep yourself focused, etc. So one of the questions I had was, why do some people win and other people lose?
Really, I love this question, Alpish. I think that this is really at the heart of the matter for so many people because you really, when you're going through business, you don't really know if you're successful because you feel like sometimes that you're losing a lot, right? I mean, that's just the
Right.
reality of the situation. But here's the thing: the difference between winners and losers is that winners are able to get uncomfortable on a
Hmm.
regular basis. They're uncomfortable doing the hard stuff. They're uncomfortable making the phone calls. They're uncomfortable actually working and implementing the systems and implementing the things that that others are giving them in recommendations. So that's a real big thing. Winners fail all the time.
Yes.
They just choose not to be the victim of it.
Yeah. Wow.
Losers will play the victim all the time.
That's
For
such a
reason,
great quote, man.
yeah, and so they'll always figure out a way to see how the world is against them, and winners will see how it as an opportunity, and they'll never allow themselves to be the victim in any failure that they experience.
Oh, that's amazing. So I think that should be a quote, and I'm just comparing. I'm trying to understand all this because I wear multiple hats. I'm an entrepreneur. I try to run a lot of businesses, and I've failed so many times.
Yeah.
I sometimes I feel like, why am I even doing this thing? I should just go back and work 9 to 5, not even worry about anything. But
Yes.
but then my other side tells me that you got fired in 2009. Why do you want to go back to 9 to 5 W2 job, right?
Exactly. Yep. That's exactly right.
So the people you work with or coach with, what are the characteristics you look for on those people, or do you try to change those characteristics?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think that everybody's born with uniqueness, right? And
Right.
I think that that's the thing that's really powerful that people have to realize and understand is that everybody has something special and unique about them that is making them successful or that is driving them to achieve some type of success. I'm very fortunate that I get to work with business owners and entrepreneurs, CEOs of companies. Obviously, as a real estate professional, I get to deal with other real estate
Right.
professionals as well too. And so there's this mindset of, listen, I am willing to do what it takes to be successful.
Hmm.
Now, of course, there's people that say, hey, listen, I am willing to do what it takes to be successful. And then when you tell them and help them realize it, they go, well, I'm not willing to do that though. Right. So there is that
Yeah.
difference, right? There's people that are choosing, willing to do it. There's other people that don't. But I think the characteristics of it, of course, is obviously just like we talked about, is being able to get uncomfortable, being able to take action in your life, being able to sit at somebody else's feet and be mentored by them and apply it to your life. These are characteristics of true leaders because they can show the humility to say, I don't know all the answers, but I'm willing to find them and I'm willing to implement into my life.
That's interesting. And have you, like when you're coaching, have you seen that some of the people, they don't want to make any change, they don't want to get uncomfortable? Then do you tell them that I don't think we are meant to be together.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Has
really,
that happened to you?
yeah. I mean, so this goes back to, I learned this a long time ago. In fact, one of the men in my life that was like a second dad to me, just a really great man of faith. And he had told me at one point when I was younger, that he wanted to live a life where people knew where he stood in his faith, right? And he said, it's going to be like, if this doesn't align with you, it's going to be like coals burning on the top of your head. This is actually a scripture out of the Bible, right?
Mm.
So I have taken that mantra, and we apply that in our business, and I apply that with my coaching and my mentoring is that, listen, I live a life that is going to help you be successful in life. I'm going to do things. I'm going to be able to push you. I'm going to inspire you. I'm going to do all these things. But I will tell you this, if like you really don't want that, if you're really not willing to pay the price, this is going to be like coals burning on the top of your head, because it's going to be miserable for you. Because we're going to be positive. We're going to be encouraging. We're going to show grace, but we're also going to have high standards. We're going to go after excellence, not perfection. And we've really found that a lot of people, to be honest with you, don't want that. They say they want it, but they really, at the end of the day, they don't.
Yeah, and I've seen that a lot of time as well. That's why I asked that question. Hey, I also, when I was receiving your newsletter, and you talk about 1%, how 1% impacts your 100%. What is that about?
Yeah, this is, I tell you what, this can be applied to every area of your life, any aspect. There's 5 foundations that we believe everybody should live by. So it doesn't matter if you're a mom or a dad, a husband or a wife, a businessman, an entrepreneur, a CEO. It does not matter. All walks of life. So there's faith, family, fitness, finance, and your future. And faith is the spiritual aspect of life, right? But it's also faith within yourself. Like, you have got to be doing things on a daily basis, on a regular basis, to build up that strength and that fortitude in yourself so that you can go do great things in your life, right? So that's the type of faith that we're talking about. Then, of course, obviously family. And listen, we know that there's people out there that we know there's people out there that maybe they haven't found the love of their life yet, right? Or maybe they're just, that's not where they're at. Right? But family means is the people that you have surrounded yourself with, right? I grew up with a tremendous amount of extended family, meaning friends.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. And so because we moved away. I was originally born in Washington. We moved all the way out to Wyoming. And just as you and I were talking about earlier, it's like, there's nothing around here. There's more antelope in the state of Wyoming than people.
Yes.
So we didn't really have any family around us. So we had to surround ourselves with other like-minded people that we considered family. So my aunts and uncles, the people that were closest to us, they were not truly my aunt and uncle, but they became my aunt and uncle because of the relationship we built with them, right? So the family, that is so important for you to develop in your life.
Man, I'm just going to interrupt, man. That's so powerful. Because just talking about, and I started thinking, because I come from extended family, and I moved from India 22 years ago, left entire family, all my relatives, and moved here, right? So of course I had to build what you're saying, right? I also have now pretty much, I can call those friends and family, extended family here, right? And we take care of each other.
Yeah, that's exactly right, brother. I mean, and we all know too, I mean, blood is blood. There's no doubt about it. But sometimes sometimes blood family is the hardest to get along with, right? And so you also need to surround yourself with other people where you just love to be around them and enjoy them. So once again, faith, family, fitness. And this isn't about working out 5 days a week. This is more about just your health and vitality. Are you doing the things on a regular basis that give you the energy so that you can go out there and really accomplish amazing things in your life, right? So faith, family, fitness, finance, we know, this, Albert, is financial. The financial picture of your life is truly important. And money, there's nothing wrong with money, right? There's this misconception that money is the root of all evil.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you that is a misinterpretation of where that's coming from. It's actually the love of money. So when you obsess about it, when money becomes your idol, that is the challenge. That's the problem, right? But money is amazing. Money, you can do great things with it, right? So money is a fantastic thing that you should make sure that you are educated in and that you are aspiring to get more of, because good people need money. Good people do
Yes.
great things with money. And so I want to give people the freedom to be able to chase that in the proper context. And then of course, obviously your future, because a lot of times what ends up happening is that we're never looking into the future, right? We're never looking
Yep.
into the next generation and what we're trying to achieve and the legacy that we're
Right.
building.
Yes.
We've got to spend time on a consistent basis of always looking at what does the future look like? Why am I doing this right now? And how is that going to benefit the future me, my future children, my future family, my future grandchildren? Man, I tell you what, when you discover that kind of stuff, that is a powerful moment in your life that will help you push through just about every obstacle that you face.
That's amazing, brother. That's amazing. So faith, family, fitness, finance, and future. And believe it or not, I believe in all those 5 things. Of course, I didn't know what to call them,
Yeah.
right? But I work out every day, not just for fitness, but just to feel better, right?
Yes.
Just to be awake, just to be energized for a whole day. I'm actually preparing for a triathlon right now. So I'm hoping I'll finish.
Love it.
So
Love it, man. That is an amazing goal to go after, brother.
Oh, yeah. Every year I set a challenge for myself, not only on the finance side, but fitness side. And I take up a challenge, which I know I would be very uncomfortable with that challenge, right? Every time I hated running. So I did Spartan and Tough Mudder races because I knew I just hate it. So I got to do it.
I'm a big Spartan race guy, man. I love it.
You do? Oh man,
yeah.
I just left right when COVID happened, but I had done about 12 or 13 Spartan and Tough Mudder.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yes. See, yeah, we got way back in the corner is all the
medals. Yes.
Yep. So
I'm pretty sure you would have got podium. I was not running for podium.
no, I tell you what, I run competitive, but I don't run for insanity.
That's true. Yeah. My goal is to finish and get that medal. So
Amen,
I can brag about it.
Yep. Amen to that. Yep.
Hey, so let's talk about success, right? So and this is something I even tried on myself, that to figure out what exactly is success. What would someone call a success, right? Is it having a lot of money? Is it having successful business? Or is it having a lot of time to spend with family? So does success always really feel like success? And what is success?
Oh man, it's such a great question, right? Because obviously, it comes in so many different forms. I would say this, I think, when it comes to success, oftentimes it doesn't feel like success. It really feels like failure. And, if you've ever researched what it takes to climb Mount Everest, you know that there are a lot of different base camps.
Yes.
Right.
That's one of my goal, EBC, one of the base camp.
It is. And it's like you get to that first destination and you're like, you haven't even started the journey yet. And you're like, man, I feel like I've actually accomplished something, but you haven't even really started what that true journey looks like. Right. And I think, unfortunately, what ends up happening in people's lives is they have this idea of what they want to accomplish, but they never understand why they want to accomplish it. Right. And of course, obviously, it always takes a lot longer. We know this. I mean, it's just obviously, there are some people out there, you're just like, they have a great idea. They have a few things that go their way and they blow up overnight. And you're like, well, that looked like it was easy. Right. But the vast majority of people, it takes years to be successful. Just like for climbing Mount Everest, it takes a lot of days, a lot of weeks to get there, right? And so success can often look like failure. And sometimes when you have to go to base camp 2, sometimes because of the weather, you got to go all the way down to base camp 1 until that weather passes so that you can get to that next one, right? But here's the thing that's amazing about when you climb Everest. One, of course, is it's an amazing accomplishment. Right? There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
Simply amazing.
You are actually on top of the world.
You are on top of the world. But one thing that people have said once they get there is that they realize there's so many other mountain peaks. And they go, I got to go climb those too.
Yes.
Right? And so when you look at success leads to other success. So success leads to those other challenges of saying, man, I accomplished this. I'm not satisfied with this anymore. I want to go there now, right? I want to go to that successful person, or I see who I can become when I go accomplish that. And so what'll happen is success will begot success. And as long as you continue to move that finish line, as long as you continue to push yourself towards other goals, you'll never truly be at that finish line, because that's not what life is about, right? Life is about the journey and about constantly bettering yourself to become that person that you desire to be.
Oh, that's such a great explanation, man. Life is a journey and you got to enjoy that journey, right?
Sure.
So you started talking about Mount Everest and I started, dreaming because last year I climbed my first 14,000er,
Okay.
Mount Whitney, the
Yeah.
tallest mountain in contiguous US. And I thought I'm done. And then one of my buddies started talking about base camp. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I got to start thinking about it.
Yep. That's exactly right. Yep.
Hey, so let's talk about routine because I have my own morning routine. I follow Miracle Morning book by Hal Elrod, right? The Savers routine. What does your morning or evening routine look like?
Yeah, I'd say what routines are just amazingly important. We know that, right? First of all, and routines should be this. Routines should be there for empowerment. And as I look at it, I'm either trying to create energy or I'm trying to create recovery in my routines. So like in the morning, I'm typically trying to create the energy so that I can go out there and do really great things in my life. And so, we talked earlier about kind of just doing uncomfortable things. And so I really like to challenge myself from the very beginning of getting uncomfortable for a moment or two. And that for me is getting into the ice barrel every day, every morning.
Do every day?
Every day.
Oh man, do you follow Wim Hof?
I actually did Wim Hof. Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Before.
Yeah,
Okay.
I even met him. So
you did? Oh, see,
yes, it was awesome.
Absolutely love it, brother. So I did that challenge, which really opened my mind up to the breathing, of course, and then what ice baths can do for you. And then I've done a ton of other research on it. Sean Stevenson has a great podcast on ice baths as well. In fact, actually, not only do I do the ice baths, but I do my morning power coffee, which is what I discovered through Sean Stevenson as well. So
I got to listen to him.
Yeah. So I really enjoy my mornings in the sense because I'm creating purpose in my life from the very beginning, right? So it's not only from what I'm reading to the mindset, the meditation. I'm starting to manifest things as well too. So I'm doing a lot of visualization in my morning routine. I do the infrared sauna as well. So I do that after the ice bath.
Oh, and wow. You go from one extreme to another.
Yeah. And so what I try to do is I really try to get rid of all of the negative emotions that I might have carried on throughout that evening, whether it's, whether you have some just bad dreams or whether you just have emotions when you first wake up or something. And then of course, at night, it's all about recovery and not just, obviously sleep is super important. We know that, right? We know that sleep is vitally important for us to be successful in life. But I really believe recovery in the sense of my mind, recovery in my mission, recovery of my gratitude and what the day and how the day unfolded and how I was able to hopefully play more offense and defense. But then just to be able to appreciate today, there was a lot of great things that happened, even if there was pure chaos, right?
Right.
I want to be grateful for the opportunity to be a part and be present in that day and in that moment. So routines for me are just absolutely vital.
Oh, that's awesome. And when do you work out?
So I love it. So first of all, I think people need to give themselves permission that you don't have to do what everybody else does, right? So I try to do it in the mornings and I hated it. I was never a morning person.
Oh, really? Okay.
I could never do it in the morning. My body would be weak or my legs would be trashed the rest of the day. So for me, this was a great reason for me not to go out and have a cheeseburger and fries or fat foods or stuff that was going to just bog my day down for the rest of the day.
Yes.
I actually do my workout over the lunch hour.
Ah, okay.
And I love it because what it does is it energizes me for the afternoon. So I can be even more powerful as opposed to being sluggish, having to have that cup of coffee and really get myself in a bad situation for my evening routine. And of course, obviously sleeping.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I have to work out in the morning somehow. And I tried the evening and I was always so tired. I always found an excuse.
Yeah.
Right. So I just want to get it out of the way. But lunch hour is interesting because I tried that and I was so hungry every time.
Yeah.
I tried that. So, but again, it's you have to train your mind and body. That's what it is, right?
Well, and I think you got to find out what works for you, right?
Yeah.
Your intentions behind it is what's really important, but then we'll find out what works best for you. So, for me, I'm more of a snacker throughout the day. And so I eat a late breakfast, and then I'll have a snack right before my workout. And then of course I'll refuel afterwards. But other people are different, right? There's people that we know that work out in the evening. It's like, great, fantastic. If that works for you, you work out in the morning. Awesome. Do what empowers you.
Correct.
Don't try to do what I do to make you be empowered. So
no, I agree. And you mentioned about taking that uncomfortable task in the morning, and that reminded me, I think Brian Tracy's book, Eat That Frog.
Frog,
right?
yeah.
That's what he talks about, right? Take that impossible task. Take that uncomfortable feeling first thing in the morning when you are prepared, when you're ready to go, right?
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Hey, another question I have. Let's say someone is working with you and they're struggling, right? Like an entrepreneur who is struggling, what would you say to them, right? If they're struggling to move forward, they're struggling to find any momentum.
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, I think the thing we have to establish first and foremost is, do we have an integrity problem within yourself? Meaning, are you really doing the work? Right? Are you saying you're doing stuff, but at the end of the day, you're really not, and you're making more excuses than you are progress, right? And so integrity, I think personally, is a powerful, powerful thing that everybody can control, right? When you make a promise that you're going to do something, can you hold yourself to that promise? And you're going to find out most people will find an excuse why they're not making that promise to themselves. But then you have to dig deeper into, so then why are you not fulfilling that promise? Why are you not holding towards that promise? And oftentimes it's because we all know that the why is not big enough. Like the purpose of what they're doing is just not deep enough. It's not big enough. It's not clear enough, right? When you can dig deep enough and truly find out, like, why are you willing to sacrifice for this? Why are you willing to pay the price? Then you can start to wrap things around that. And that in itself helps with that motivation that it takes to be able to do that. The other thing I'd say to this is like, well, what's the one small step you could do today? Like we think in grandiose things, right? So like I deal with a lot of agents and like, hey, listen, I want to sell $100 million this year. And you're like, awesome. That's fantastic. But you have to sell one house first. Like, until you get to that one house, you're never going to get to the 100 million, right?
You got to get 2 million.
Exactly. So, you have to look at reverse engineering this. Is like, so what's the one small step that you can do today? Is that one phone call? Is it that one post? Is it that one email? Like, what is the one thing you can do today to get yourself an easy win? Because when you're not moving forward, you're experiencing so many more losing opportunities and failures than you are those easy wins that actually help create that momentum. So I would say those are the things that I would start with from the very beginning.
That's awesome. So let's talk about what you are working on right now. What's the most exciting thing you're working on?
Yeah. So I just got through a 60-day grind with one of our groups called Man-Made. And during that time, we really highlighted a number of things that we wanted to accomplish. So once again, things that we want to accomplish on a daily basis, a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. But what it did is it actually opened my mind and eyes to seeing that I was doing, and which most CEOs, a lot of business owners are doing, is that I was chasing and making more time for the urgent and gotta minutes than the important things that were actually truly moving my business forward, right? So I told myself that I was going to make the commitment for the next 7 weeks. I'm actually going through my first week right now of a sabbatical where I only am committed to doing 5 things in my businesses. So 5 areas that I have found to be the most key, influential, most important things that's going to move our companies forward, or myself and personal brand, whatever that is. 5 things for the next 7 weeks. So I've gotten rid of meetings. I've gotten rid of time in the office all the time. I've gotten rid of gotta minutes. And so I've really gotten myself away from the distractions so I can be super focused on the things that will move me forward. So I'm extremely excited about it. And this first week has been amazing.
So how did you figure out those 5 things?
So I looked at, honestly, I looked at my calendar and I said, okay, so what's consuming my day? Why do I feel like at the end of the day, I didn't accomplish anything? And so it literally was just like journaling of like, well, I had this conversation and this conversation, I had this meeting and this meeting, and then I had returned these emails and I did this. And I'm like, but when did I have time to work on my flame work? Right. And flame work is this idea of just think of a candle, right? and we've got all this wax, right? There's all this wax right here. The wax is the minutes and just the daily stuff of the businesses that that you feel like you have to be doing. But that flame work is like, that's actually where you find enjoyment, right? Those are the things that light you on fire and light your business on fire. And those are the things that you're just super motivated to do. Unfortunately, oftentimes our wick is much smaller than our wax. Right. And so we as business owners, we have to create more flame work so we can live a life on fire. So that's what I've been focused on, is what is the wick in my businesses or in my life that I need to spend more time on that will truly light my life on fire.
That's amazing, man. This is eye-opening. So let's take a quick break. And after the break, we'll go through the same questions I ask every guest.
You're listening to the Wealth Matters Podcast. The Wealth Matters Podcast. For more info about what we do, check us out at wealthmatters.com. It's wealth, WEALTH, matters, MATRS.com.
Welcome back to Wealth Matters Podcast. I highly recommend all of you, if you listen to this episode, go back and re-listen, re-watch, because Josh shared lots of golden nuggets right here. Thank you, Josh, for doing that.
Hey, my pleasure, brother.
Are you ready for fire round?
Do it, buddy.
Would you be changing any business or investment strategy because of inflation or recession?
Sure. I think it's really important for you to protect the ship, right? Yes. Protect the ship. Know where your financial outlook is. Make sure that you have capital. We know that cash flow is king right now. So make sure you're doing things in order to have cash flow in your business. I think this is the other thing that's going to happen, is that there's going to be opportunities, right? Anytime that there's a recession or talk of a recession, there's going to be opportunities out there. And so can you capitalize on those opportunities? As I look at our businesses, we've always grown in recessions. We've actually grown tremendously well in recessions because we've been able to capitalize on those opportunities, but we also have the mindset that we're going to play offense. So that's what I'd recommend to every business owner.
Oh, that's great. Favorite real estate or finance or business book?
Yeah, there's one that I recently read. It's called Capital Crusaders by Todd Martis and Walt Dallas. Now, these guys are tax attorneys. One of the things that we like as business owners, we just kind of mostly rely on our CPAs to give us advice. When you start to get to a certain amount of wealth in your life, and I don't really care if it's $100,000, I don't care if it's $100 million. There are ways for you to make sure that you're not overpaying in your taxes. There's ways for you to be very, very calculated in the structure of how much money you pay in the government. This is an amazing book that actually opens up your eyes to forms of legal ways that you can save money. Because here's the thing, is we know when you save money in taxes, you're going to go create more wealth with it.
Yes.
You're going to expand your business. You're going to bring more security to your employees. You're going to create more opportunities for people in your organization. And of course, obviously yourself. So do not pay the government more than you need to. This is an awesome book to realize some great savings and some structures that you can put into place immediately.
Oh, that's amazing. When I started investing in real estate, one of the goal was saving taxes, right? That's how it all started. And then I attended Mark Kohler, which is one of the CPA, his event, and then read Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright, right? And it just opened my eyes. I'm like, okay. Then I took some tax courses just to understand more. So I am going to definitely read this book because I'm always looking for different ideas. The legal loopholes.
Yes, that's exactly right. Well, the tax code is this big for a reason, right? They want you to take advantage of those opportunities. The problem is that nobody understands them. So you got to really hire those experts that we talked about.
97% of the pages contain how to take advantages, but we focus on the 3%, trying to figure out when do I need to pay the tax, or why do I? Any tool or website you recommend or you cannot live without?
Yeah, I was going to say, so if you're just getting into real estate and maybe you're trying to figure out, hey, listen, is this a good investment opportunity? Some of those websites can be very complicated. I'd highly recommend Bigger Pockets.
Yes.
Love what they've got. Love their tools. You can go in there. It's like the calculator is so easy to use. You can take and look at properties and you can have a description of if this is a good opportunity or not within 5 minutes by simply just putting in a couple numbers. So if you're looking at strategies for real estate investments, BiggerPockets has a great platform for that.
I agree. Any advice for beginner investors or entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I would say start small. Start small. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't bite off more than you're comfortable losing to a certain point, right? Not that you're trying to do that by any means, but want to get your feet wet with it. I would also start with what you know. So if you're into real estate, I wouldn't put your money into crypto yet if you don't have an advisor, if you don't have people that know it, if you don't have a desire to have any understanding in it. Stick to what you know. And then I'd also say is, who can you partner with? I think that's a really important thing. If you're going to get into something new, don't go by doing it alone. Try to find an expert in that, or at least somebody that's going to be investing it with you so that you can lean on them when you have those questions and those circumstances that come up, which they always do.
Oh, that's great. How do you give back?
Well, I think there's three areas that we all can give back in, is either time, energy, or money financially. Right. So time for me is by the coaching and the mentoring that I do with my clients, doing podcasts, our own podcast, the JK Experience. And then every morning at 8:30 Mountain Central Time, I do a quick, about a 7-minute video. I give you we call it the first 15 minutes of my morning. I talk about stuff that I'm doing in my life, and I'm challenged with, things that I'm thinking about. And I think hopefully that helps other people as they start to think more intentionally about their life. Energy, of course, obviously a lot of that goes to my family. We do a lot of live events. I have a passion for fathers and men in business, and men becoming all that they were meant to be. So we do live events through that group. We do masterminds in that group. So that's a lot of energy that I use on that. Money. Obviously there's organizations that are nonprofits that we love to support. So we do that. But there's a tremendous obligation and passion that I have in creating businesses and opportunities. So I love hiring people. I love expanding our companies, because I believe that everyone deserves the opportunity to become the best version of themselves and to create their own legacy. And I really believe with a tremendous passion that our companies allow people to do that.
That's great. How can my listeners reach out to you?
Yeah, brother. You can follow me on all of the social media platforms. I love to hang out on Instagram. You go to Joshua D. Kalinowski. You'll see me there. You can actually go to joshkalinowski.com. Just as you were talking about, I do a weekly email that I give you a lot of great content, and then obviously other things and resources that I'm using in my life as well too. So then you can sign up there. And then if you're a guy, if you're like, hey man, I want to man up in my life a little bit, I want to be around a really powerful network of men, you can go to man-made.org. You can find out all about the stuff that we do there. We do trips, we do masterminds, we do events, and then we just have a private group where we are able to talk with each other and really build each other up, and then make some great connections so that we can make even greater impact.
Thank you so much, Josh, for your time. I thoroughly enjoyed, and you can tell I was mesmerized.
I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for all you do, man. Like you make a great impact out there. I love your stuff. I love your content, man. It's awesome to see what you're doing, brother.
Oh, thank you so much. Again, have a great weekend.
Okay, thanks. You too.
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Matters podcast. If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes so others can enjoy the show too. Have a great week and happy investing!